What is up, my friends? Welcome to this video, and in this video we're going to talk about US debt, Treasury holdings, and China, Japan, Saudi Arabia. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. This page that I have up, you can see the link, and all the relevant links will be underneath the video as well. But the thing I wanted to point out is the fact that, and this is August 2, but it was published on October 16th, 2018. So it's always a little bit behind, but this is the latest, essentially debt holders, US Treasury and bond debt holders, okay? It comes as no surprise, and if you're in this topic, if you're kind of in the macroeconomic game, you know that China is a big player in this game, okay? We will also notice that China has been steadily decreasing its positions and the amount of debt that it holds, okay? And Japan as well. Japan is down as well, and I'll show you additional charts in just a second. But this site and this data is very interesting to keep an eye on. There's a hidden variable that I'm gonna show you, which is that Saudi Arabia is on the massive increase as China and Japan are offloading and on the decline. This is where the kind of fickleness of an economy comes into play, because, you know, with fiat, it's just the printing and moving around. It's a shell game. When somebody sells, somebody's got to buy. So we see here that in this case, Ireland and Brazil have been buyers recently, bigger buyers. China and Japan have been getting rid of and selling off. So here's another interpretation of it. China's treasury holdings, they ramped up in 2017, you see, and now they've been slowly, steadily selling off. And I think they're going to start selling off at a much faster pace now. And it's because I think that they're planning something big with their state-backed cryptocurrency that they want to do. They are a big mining producer of gold, and they are a big holder of gold. So they're always increasing their holdings of gold. They're increasing that all the time. This year, they've been spending massive amounts of money in their gold holdings, and they're decreasing their treasury holdings and their US debt holdings. Coincidence? No, it's not. That's done strategically, and it's done on purpose, okay? So they are actually accumulating money and getting rid of currency and getting rid of their fiat and their paper debt. This is the one I wanted to show you, is that Japan actually is hitting all-time lows, touching back to 2011. You know, make no mistake, they have been steadily selling off since 2014, the end of 2014. They have been selling off slowly but steady over the last 4 years. And now we're at a level that we haven't seen since 2011 with their total holdings, their total US debt holdings. I think China is gonna get like this too. I think China is gonna go much lower. I think there'll be, you'll see more dramatic action in that chart, whereas this is way more strategic. And it totally makes sense with the culture of Japan too. I don't know, maybe that's me looking too deeply into it, but it totally makes sense. Like from a respectful standpoint, they just, yeah, okay, we'll slowly sell it off. Whereas I don't think China really cares. Next, here is the hidden little variable that we can't really see in this chart, but when we look over here, we see it much, much bigger. Very interesting, since I would say, when did this bull run of accumulation start here? 2005. We can kind of mark this as the point. Since then, and especially in 2018, we have seen a dramatic increase in US debt holdings by Saudi Arabia. Okay, this green line here, this is Saudi Arabia. So look at 2017 and 2018. It's looking parabolic. It is looking absolutely parabolic. And Russia, look at Russia, boom, dropping off. Japan, China, they look a little bit less dramatic, but Russia's dropped off the face of the earth here with its holdings. And we have China and Japan getting rid of. So who's going to be buying? This is a question. This is a very good question to ask, is especially with Russia with these mass sell-offs, okay? They're really distancing themselves from US debt for whatever reason. Why? Why would they be doing that? So that's where politics kind of comes into play. And the political piece I want to slightly touch on is Saudi Arabia. There's very few instances where there's coincidence, okay? And I don't really, it doesn't really matter where your political views lie. I don't judge anyone for what they believe in. Saudi Arabia, after this whole journalist issue, okay, and the voice recording basically admitting and proof that Saudi Arabia, the government was involved, that as soon as this kind of surfaced on social media, they transferred over 100 million. That's part of this $100 billion arms deal, which only so far 14 billion has solidified itself in this arms deal, but they immediately transferred over money. Again, is that a coincidence? I don't really believe in those. Okay, we have Pompeo going over, what is that, Secretary of State, yeah. Mike Pompeo going over and talking with Saudi Arabia. So that's an interesting piece of news. And then we have the president kind of excusing the behavior and the action so far by Saudi Arabia because there's this big arms deal in the mix and because there's all this money in the mix. So again, you got to look beyond this surface level coincidence that there's a little bit more to it than that. We see this steady rise through 2017, 2018. Okay, just a quick update for you. This is the other link I wanted to go through. Is there seems to be a recent, and I'll say 2-3 year correlation between investment money going into Silicon Valley and Saudi Arabia. So that's the next interesting data point, I guess, okay? Uber grabbed $3.5 billion from Saudi Arabia's public investment fund in 2016. Besides Uber, there's been quite a bit of other action going on with just funds. $72 billion from one fund, $400 million into Magic Leap. SoftBank through Japan is involved in somehow in the Saudi Arabia connection. $93 billion technology investment fund, half of the $45 billion from Saudi Arabia. You know, they're trying to diversify beyond oil, and they got a ton of oil money, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. So this is one of many. So Slack, I think, has gotten some money. Slack is reported to do a IPO in early 2019, which that should be pretty big. But yeah, the list goes on and on and on. They got their hand in a lot of different things, billions and billions of dollars in Silicon Valley. So I guess the next logical thing would be, well, how is this any different than China? And it's really not. You know, China's a big investor in American real estate throughout California, throughout the East Coast as well. You know, China's obviously a big player in the US debt game, but they're selling it off, and they're selling it off faster and faster. And now we got this trade tariff war going on. So it seems that as China's, you know, getting rid of some of their holdings, Saudi Arabia is a big new player to be scooping that up and picking it up. So anyways, that's all I've got for you. That's the breadcrumbs. You guys can piece it together how you like. If this is your first time to the channel, take a second, click the like button. It means so much, and it really does help spread this video through the algorithms. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so you see more of our notifications. And I'd love to hear your comments below. So go ahead and take a second. If you've got something on your mind that you want to share, go ahead and place that below. Otherwise, be on the lookout for more videos like this dropping soon on the channel. See ya.